Emigrating to the other side of the world can split families right down the middle. So, if you've always wanted to live in Australia, but your family doesn't share your dream, would you still go without them?
Helen's dreamt of moving down under since she was 18, and now she just might have that chance.
I actually think Australia, this is where my restless soul has been for a number of years. I can't see why I would want to leave here.
Her teenage daughter Steph isn't so sure.
I'd say I was still 50-50 on whether to go, but perhaps I'm being a bit pampering to my mum there, where really I'm probably about 75% sure I want to stay in England.
If Steph can't be convinced of a life down under, Helen will have to sacrifice her dreams or leave her daughter behind.
It's just really hard to think she just wouldn't be part of us because she's such a big part of the family. So I don't know. I'd miss her terribly.
But if Helen wants to live her dream, it's a sacrifice she might just have to make. With its 50,000 kilometres of coastline and sunny climate, Australia has long been a favourite destination of Brits dreaming of a new life abroad. But when around 10,000 return home each year with their dreams in ruins, sometimes a life down under isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Helen wants her family to share her Australian adventure. But if daughter Steph decides her life is in the UK, Helen's heart could be broken in two. We're giving them 1 week to try out life down under, and at the end of it, they'll have to make the hardest decision of their lives.
Tim Booth and his wife Helen live in a 4-bedroom semi-detached house in the village of Yulo near Chester, along with their 2-year-old son Ben and Helen's daughter Steph, who's 17. Since she was a teenager, Helen's always dreamt of moving down under.
I'm the instigator, so I'm the one that's always harped on, really we should go to Australia and experiencing the lifestyle over there. We are an outdoors, we are an adventurous family, and I think what it has to offer is really ticks all the boxes for us. So we could actually all go out as a family and live the dream.
The time has never been right until now. With Tim recently made redundant from his job as a town planner, they've started to think about their future in a different way.
The whole development industry was affected, so people being made redundant. So it meant looking around the country at different jobs, and I happened to get one in tendering in Essex, and it meant moving down there. So for the last 9 months I've been living in a caravan in just outside Clacton.
It was this time away from Helen and the children which brought home to Tim what really matters.
You suddenly start rationalising what's most important, working long term or being closer to the family, and seek a better life and have a bit more quality time with each other.
But teenage daughter Steph doesn't share her mother's dream and wants to stay in the UK and go to university with her friends.
I think I kind of see it more as their adventure, and whereas I want to have my own adventures now when I'm older. I'll have a look at the universities there, but it might not be right for me. So I just want to be able to go and explore it and stuff, and then see how I feel. But yeah, at the moment I'd probably say England's pretty cosy.
Helen might be faced with the prospect of tearing her family apart.
So I'm really pulled, I don't know. I don't know. You're asking me. If I could go and it was just my decision, I'd go, definitely, without a doubt.
I do feel pressure on me. If I didn't go, I'm not sure they would. And then that would make me feel really guilty, because that would seem selfish of me then.
I don't think I'd I don't know whether I'd settle without Steph there.
I hope whatever decisions we make, they don't influence each other and make people make the wrong decisions.
Their week in Australia could either be the end of Helen's long-held dream or the start of the family's biggest adventure. So, where in Australia shall we send them?
They could try Melbourne, the capital of Victoria. It's one of Australia's fastest growing cities, and so town planner Tim should have plenty of work opportunities. But the growing population also means a strong housing market, and with the average house price around £305,000, the Booths may struggle to find a home they like. Or maybe the Brisbane area would suit them better. It's the cultural capital of Queensland, and with 3 universities, there should be plenty of choice for Steph. House prices in the city are on the rise, and so Tim and Helen may prefer to live in the more affordable Redlands area, which would offer them the relaxed suburban lifestyle they're used to. Perhaps they could try Perth in Western Australia. It's another boom area and so would offer plenty of work options for Tim. But although average house prices at around £300,000 are lower than some larger cities, the cost of living can be expensive.
So, 3 great choices there. We decided to send the Booth family just east of Brisbane to the Redlands area.
It offers good job prospects for Tim, is a short commute to the universities in Brisbane, and the Queensland coast is only minutes away. Potentially the Redlands lifestyle could be perfect, but only if they can find the right home.
Oh no, we couldn't live with this.
The finances make it affordable.
Oh, so we're actually making a savings then?
No, that's a minus.
And the emotional cost isn't too high a price to pay.
We miss you lots and lots.
I will see you when you get back.
That was heartbreaking. It's making me reconsider my decision. My dream wouldn't be anything without my children being happy or my family being happy, so that comes first.
Everything's at stake as they head into the unknown. Crossing 3 continents and a distance of nearly 11,000 miles, the Booths touched down in Brisbane Airport after 21 hours in the air. Jet-lagged, but hopeful.
It was okay, yeah, we were looked after.
There you go.
Okay, and feeling a bit tired now, but
The flight wasn't too bad. I was trying to get used to the jet lag and everything from the flight, so I was pinning my eyes open.
He behaved himself, so we did all right. Have you come for an adventure?
Yes.
Everything's an adventure with them.
Their whole future rests on this adventure. If daughter Steph doesn't feel Australia is for her, Helen will be faced with a heartbreaking choice: to follow her home or leave her behind in the UK. But the week is young, and who knows where the road could take them. The family are staying in this brand new townhouse in Redlands. It's an open plan design with 3 bedrooms, which Ben is very keen to try out straight away. With so much riding on the week ahead, it's vital they feel at home here.
so what do you think?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's nice
do
and
for the
roomy. Yeah, it's nice. It's all brand new.
It's clean looking and fresh.
But for Helen, the enormity of the choice ahead and the emotional struggle it involves is never far from her mind.
The biggest thing for me to come to Australia is, without putting pressure on Steph, although I know it well, is her decision whether she's going to stay at home or come to university here. And I think she's tending to go for university at home.
I think for me that's definitely the big key factor, because if they're not as good, if they don't live up to expectations, then it's a no-go completely.
At some point she's got to go and fly the nest, and I really don't know. I don't know.
But with only 1 week here, the Booths will need to find answers sooner than they think. Back Back in the UK, the Booths live in a beautiful 4-bedroom semi-detached house set at the end of a leafy country lane. They bought it 9 years ago for £110,000 and have spent a further £70,000 on renovations to make it their own.
There's no doubt the Booths will want to find the right home to make this heart-wrenching move seem worthwhile. But finding that dream house will depend on where they choose to live and ultimately how much they have to spend.
For their budget, they probably won't get the type of property they would like on the Redlands coast. This house definitely has the style they're after, but it's on the market for £500,000. If they move inland, they will definitely get more for their money. This takes us to the country suburbs of Redlands, where they could get more space for their money. This 5-bedroom house is a good example of homes in the area. It's in a secluded spot and comes with a large garden, but also a longer commute to work for Tim. On the market for around £455,000, it would be a stretch for them at least to start with when Helen isn't working. Perhaps the city area of Redlands would be the best for the Booths, as it would give them easy access to nurseries for Ben and mean Tim could walk to work. This 5-bedroom house has a good-sized garden and is only 10 minutes from the coast. It's on the market for around £365,000 and so could be a good choice for the Booths once Helen is working.
The Redlands area does have some fantastic places to live. But as ever, the nearer the beach you are, the pricier things get. In order to get the house they want, the Booths are going to look at the more affordable coastal suburbs.
Helen and Tim are spending the day house hunting while Steph and Ben visit the local park. They're starting their search in Victoria Point with this 3-bedroom townhouse. It's on the market for £194,000 and so it's well below their £220,000 budget, but Helen has high expectations.
The estate's quite nice.
Estate's nice, yeah, it is.
This is smaller than I was expecting when I walked in.
Very small.
But the kitchen's not too bad. Could probably do with a little bit of updating, but...
I'm surprised how small, how expensive it is for the size.
Yeah, I wouldn't be rushing into buying it too quickly, I don't think.
They're clearly not impressed. Back in the UK, their home is finished to an exceptional standard, but with the price of Australian property, finding a house to match with the space they need could be a tall order.
They're decent-sized bedrooms, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't blow me away, but the decor could just do with... It'd be probably better if it was all white, just feel brighter and much cleaner.
With both Helen and Tim less than excited by the inside, the outside space may be more appealing.
Garden's not too bad, actually, size-wise.
No, you could make it okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind the outdoor space.
No? I'm a bit disappointed actually with the Australian property. I'm a bit worried what we're going to get, and we really don't want to mortgage ourselves up to the hilt, because the idea is that we live and not put all our money into a house. But a bit worried that value for money isn't really what I was expecting.
The strong Aussie housing market together with the weak pound has made property expensive. If Helen and Tim are going to find a house that feels like home, they'll need to spend more. But they've only got Tim's salary.
It's a nice suburban location. Garden looks nice outside.
Property 2 is a 3-bedroom detached house in Alexandra Hills. It comes with its own private pool, but it's on the market for £234,000, £14,000 more than they had planned to spend. So it needs to be top-notch.
Just the room, again, it feels smaller than what I expected. I just expected something bigger.
Kitchen's very dirty. It's either very dated or retro.
It all feels a bit dirty and unclean.
Definitely.
Well, at least it's 3 bedrooms, but...
They're not the biggest either.
And there's only 1 bathroom.
Oh no, we couldn't live with this. We'd fight for space.
No.
If Tim and Helen can't find a home they like at the right price, the dream of a move down under will be in jeopardy. Maybe the back garden will win them round.
The whole outdoors is a real sort of social, family and entertaining area, isn't it? You could really enjoy this.
Plenty of space for all of us.
Oh yeah, I like this a lot. Good.
The outside may be enough to sway their opinion of property too.
Probably am a little bit surprised by the cost of it because the actual property is quite small, but the inside really lets it down. The kitchen's dated, the decor's dated, the bathroom's really dated. So, yeah, the inside isn't great.
I'm optimistic that the third house will come up with something a bit better.
Helen is determined not to let the dream slip through her fingers. She expected Australia to give them more for their money, but it's dawning on the Booths that their budget is limiting and will need to be stretched to afford a home they want. Property 3 is a 4-bedroom detached house on the market for £280,000, and if Helen were to work, the Booths would be able to afford a similar home, if they like this one.
Well, it's not the biggest living area, is it?
It's not at all, no.
It's a bit
It's
dark.
We've worked hard at home to open up space as much as we can, and it's almost this is exactly what we didn't want.
Maybe the extra bedroom space will be a plus.
Yeah, I mean, for the price, I would have expected bigger.
Unfortunately, once again, the inside of the property seems to have left them cold. But as with many Aussie homes, it's the outdoors that's the selling point.
Well, it seems like a nice sized garden, actually.
It is a nice sized garden.
Probably the best feature of the house. Should we have a bit more look?
Yeah. I'm absolutely not impressed by the houses at all that we've seen so far. In terms of location, I think it's better than where we live. So in terms of location, suburban areas, I like it. But in terms of the internal decor and the layout, I don't like it at all.
Garden's all right in this place. Beyond that, doesn't really do it for me.
Helen and Tim were so hopeful at finding the right house for them, but had been surprised at every turn. They liked the outside space and gardens at each property, but found the interiors small and dated. If this is all they can afford, the move could be over. So how will they vote on property?
UK.
That doesn't mean we're not coming.
It does mean you're going to have to compromise, though.
I think we know we've got to go smaller, but it's just maybe a newer property would be what we're looking for.
I'm not so certain. I quite like the older ones, but with more space outside.
Oh, there's a debate to be had.
Is Helen's dream already starting to slip away? They may need to spend more to find a home they like, so it's vital Tim finds decent work.
Back in the UK, Tim has worked as a town planner for 15 years. His skills are in demand in much of Australia. Ultimately, the move hinges on him getting a job that will fund the lifestyle they want, and Steph finding a university that lives up to her expectations. So we're sending them both off to find out more. One about the workplace and the other about college.
The job is important because certainly for probably about the first year it'll probably be just my income whilst Helen sort of looks after and settles Ben into the move. I guess I'm looking for some reassurance from the job meeting today that they take on UK planners, that the system's the same fundamentally and that there are opportunities there.
Tim is joining the land use planning team led by Wayne Dawson to see how things are done in Australia.
We're just talking about some of the planning here we're doing in the city at the moment, and it's probably worthwhile just give you a bit of an overview of how we structurally operate in the city. We're looking at planning in about a 25-year time horizon.
This department is responsible for planning the residential and business development of Redlands, but at the same time needs to protect the environment for the indigenous wildlife.
Just a couple that are quite relevant to stop the decline of our koala population through advocacy, protecting their habitat and increasing community engagement and action.
I hadn't quite picked up how important the koalas were, but I've seen the koala fencing around the highways, etc., to stop them getting across.
Yes, it's obviously a national symbol and it's a fairly iconic wildlife to the city. We actually are trying to remove the level of roadkill by looking at controlled underpass systems, which link up on both sides to their major corridors into areas of habitat.
While Tim is getting the lowdown of similarities and differences of town planning in Australia, Steph meets up with Dr. Judith Seaboyer, lecturer in English at Queensland University, to find out what studying in Australia would offer her. The fate of the entire move could be decided with this visit.
So, Stephanie, why do you want to study English literature?
Well, at the moment I want to be a writer, I think, when I'm older, so English will obviously help that. And I think it's a subject I'm best at as well. And I enjoy it the most, so I think that's definitely important.
Well, we believe really strongly that anybody who wants to be a creative writer should begin by doing an undergraduate degree in English literature. But more and more now, you can actually include a bit of creative writing in your study of literature.
So what would English literature studying here include?
In the first year, you get a taste for a lot of different things. By the second year, you have a sense of what you're really enjoying and what you really want to do, so you can start to focus a bit more then. So you can do a course in 18th century literature or in Shakespeare or in tragic drama. So you have a lot of options in that way.
So obviously I'm going to be a foreign student. What are the cost implications of that then?
University isn't free in Australia for Australians either, but it will cost more until you become an Australian resident.
The course structure seems much the same as back in the UK, but with a disadvantage of around £11,000 annual college fees. Tim needs to find a job in Australia that pays enough to support the family and meet these extra costs. Tim's talking to Eleanor Noonan about job opportunities at the council.
So I thought I'd start with giving you a bit of a picture as to where you might fit within our council here. We find in Australia that the public sector don't tend to pay top dollar, but what they do offer is a lot of flexibilities, which is a big draw card. We have a 36.25-hour working week, so some of our staff opt to work some longer days. They work 9 days out of a 10-day fortnight.
OK, that's interesting. So, senior planner, what sort of salary is that?
In English pound, I'd say that would be around about £38,000 to about £45,000 per annum.
That's a potential pay cut of between £5,000 and £12,000. With Helen giving up her job as a marketing consultant to look after Ben, that's a massive blow.
Tim is really the practical one in all of this. He's the one that has to bring his career over here. So if he said he absolutely couldn't come here, it'd really provide the deciding factor for us on whether we could come out to Australia.
It's not all about money, it never has been really. The move's about a change in lifestyle as much as anything, and not getting to retirement and not having done anything but lived in the same place and worked 9 to 5. There's clearly a balancing act between lifestyle and sort of the relaxation and the adventure that Helen would like to see.
But if Steph doesn't like Aussie universities or the course proves too expensive, she'll stay in the UK.
The university seemed really good, and like the academic side of it as well as the social side of it was good. It's easier to say whilst I'm here, yes, it's fine, yeah, Australia. But then it's like, oh, what about my friends? What about all the things I like about England?
Helen's dream might not seem so attractive without her only daughter.
Steph is, we're best friends and I just love having her around. And it's not just the fact of the independence, she's going to have that wherever we go and whatever we do, and that's quite right. It's just really hard to think she just wouldn't be part of us because she's such a big part of the family. It's a huge decision. So I don't know. I'd miss her terribly.
Yeah, I think Mum was kind of falling in love with it even more than she had before she'd even seen it, so that's good. I don't know, still a bit undecided as what I want to do yet, whether I want to stay in England or come here. So that's kind of a bit worrying because I think she's kind of piling on the pressure a little bit. I don't think Mum would come, no matter what she said. I don't think she would come without me. And then if I don't come, then I'm stopping her doing what she wants to do. So, but then again, I still have to make sure that the decision's right for me.
But whatever she decides, right now the future of the move lies in Tim's hands. Given the cost of Australian property and the reduced salary, will he vote for work down under?
Based on today's job meeting, I really do like my job in the UK. I like working on the development side of things, the cut and thrust of it, probably more than working for a local authority. But there are benefits, and obviously coming out here could aid the sort of lifestyle move. And on that basis, I will vote for Australia.
It's been a mixed week so far, but things are going to get tougher. When they look at the costs, Helen gets a wake-up call.
Oh, so we're actually making a savings then?
No, that's a minus.
Which makes her question everything.
Are you leaning one way or the other, do you think, at this stage?
Even though I'm the one that's driven it, I'm wobbling a little bit, really.
And in the end, will the tug of loved ones back home prove too strong?
That was heartbreaking, seeing her upset. It's making me think maybe this decision is too early for Steph. It's making me reconsider my decision.
While it's encouraging that Tim is happy with the job opportunities, they both know his lower salary will mean finances are tight. So to have a new life in Australia, it's essential they get the right price for the sale of their UK home.
Back in the UK, Tim and Helen live in a 4-bedroom house which they have lovingly extended and now believed to be worth around £240,000. And they'll need every penny to afford a house they like in Australia. So we've sent 2 local estate agents to give us a professional opinion. There are no guarantees they'll get back the £70,000 they spent on it.
Nice sized room, lovely fireplace.
Fence crane all over it.
Oh, what a fantastic room. Light, bright, fabulous kitchen.
Yeah, fabulous room and a fantastic view.
Really nice bedroom. Light, bright, great attention to detail.
Nice big bathroom, double shower. You can even lie in the bath and enjoy the view. Fabulous. Well, what we have here is a traditional 3-bedroom semi-detached that's been extensively extended and modernised.
I think it's going to appeal to a young family. Good schools, good shops and good commuting links, and I would recommend that it be valued in the region of £235,000. For a quick sale, I'd suggest about £220,000.
From a price perspective, I'd probably put this in the region of about £245,000 to £250,000. To secure a quick sale, it may need to come around about £235,000, £240,000. But with that sort of market and the way the market is currently, we should be able to secure a quick sale for you.
So that's about what we was expecting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. When we done it previously, it was slightly higher than that, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'd be tempted to rent out and rent over here as opposed to doing a quick sale at home.
Well,
but I'd be tempted to rent out and rent over here as opposed to doing a quick sale at home.
Well, that's more or less what they expected, but with Helen giving up her £28,000 a year marketing job to look after Ben, Tim's reduced salary might not be enough. So we've prepared a breakdown of their everyday living costs to see if they can afford the life Helen dreams of in Australia.
So we'd be halving our income there.
Mortgage is broadly similar. Council tax is similar.
Oh, so you obviously not got your gas and your heating, but your electricity.
Lecky is considerably more.
So it's nearly £4,000 outgoing
for the UK, but 3,362 for Australia. Oh, so we're actually making a savings then?
No, that's a minus.
Oh, that's what we'd be short then. So we'd be short nearly £900
Yeah.
to live in the lifestyle that we've currently got.
The one thing none of this takes into account actually is Steph going to university.
In order to do it, if we decided to do it, it would have to be that first year was supported by savings, coupled with me doing some freelance work in the evenings, or...
But then, what lifestyle is it for us? Then I come in the door and you go out the door.
Well, no, I can work from home, kind of like I do at home at the moment.
That, I think, to build up that client base you've got at the moment, though, would take some work, so...
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a big challenge.
So, to afford to live the lifestyle she wants, Helen would have to go back to working evenings and weekends to make ends meet, which wasn't part of her Australian plan.
It's a little bit scary, isn't it? Then there is that financial pressure. You mull it over in your head and you come up with a cost, and then you see it in black and white. And I think it's probably a point that Helen hadn't fully appreciated.
I think Tim is obviously concerned that he thinks we're going to come over here and it'll be a struggle, and actually we won't be able to live the lifestyle that we're really hoping. So I think he'll be cautious. I think it'll be his one area of concern on that deciding factor, whether we come over here or not.
After the huge shock of discovering they'd be nearly £900 a month worse off, Helen seems undeterred, but Tim's not so sure. So how will they vote on the cost of living?
Australia.
UK. I can't believe after those bills you voted Australia.
I don't believe you voted the UK.
It's far too high. We could go around the world for that.
You don't think it's achievable?
No.
Well, I do. I disagree.
Helen seems determined to hold on to her dream. Their move has always been more about the opportunity for adventure than just money. Does a new life in Australia really hold that promise?
The Booths have all fallen in love with the outdoors, but the finances have raised a big question. If they do decide to move down under, they'll be gambling everything on the dream of Australia. They need to know that even with less money, it can deliver the life they want. Luke Wallace, one of the town planners Tim met at work, and his wife Susan have invited them out for coffee to chat about the realities of life in Australia.
What I'm hoping to improve is really the family outdoors life, and just giving the family an opportunity to have that adventure and experience that lifestyle where you can be outdoors together and do all of the things that really you can't do in the UK because of the weather.
I would say that we have a very active outdoors lifestyle with our children. The cost of housing has really gone up a lot in the last 10 years. So, for example, our house, it's an average sort of home, 3-bedroom, it's worth about $550,000, and our interest-only repayments on that are nearly 50% of Luke's take-home wage. So it doesn't leave you a lot of money to do anything with. We've never really taken a family holiday in the last, since we've had kids and I haven't been working. But in saying that, there's a lot to do that costs you nothing. So you've just got to find those opportunities.
If Helen and Tim make the move without properly considering their finances, there's a very real possibility they won't be able to afford the lifestyle they want. And this could force them to return to the UK with nothing.
So you haven't had a chance yet, I guess, to have a serious talk about, well, will we or won't we, or are you leaning one way or the other, do you think, at this stage?
I think even though I'm the one that's driven it, I guess that I'm wobbling a little bit really on what that decision would be, because it's asking Steph and Tim to come along to Australia and change their way of living back home.
There's a decision there as well about how we actually do it, and whether it's a sort of full migration or we're coming out and sampling it for a few years to then make the decision.
The problem with that and just coming out to sample it is if I decide to come to university here, then I'm signing up for like a 3-4 year kind of contract. Yeah, you're going to come and stay. Whereas if Mum and Tim decide, oh yeah, it's all right for a year or so, and then want to move back to England, I'm stuck out here for the next 3 or 4 years. So I think it's even a bigger decision for me to make than those guys.
If you get abandoned out here, Steph, you can always come live with us.
Even if they can get their sums to work, it's a huge decision, and now even Helen is unsure whether her long-held dream is right for her family.
But if the Booths are to make the move to the other side of the world, they'll have to cope with the huge emotional upheaval of leaving loved ones behind.
We've prepared a DVD of messages from friends and family back home.
Hello, Helen, Tim, Steph and Ben.
Hi everyone. Tim is very loyal, a good friend.
Tim's got quite a strong personality. And he's quite a clever chap. And he's a nice fella.
We rib him for being a northerner and us from Essex.
And he takes that all in his stride and he can give it back as well.
Yeah.
When Tim and Helen got married, Steffi made a speech. And it was so good, people still talk about it now. But part of it was, my mum, she has a temper. It must be her red hair. But if you've got a problem, she'll always be there.
Steph's a really bubbly girl, and she's got loads of friends, and she just gets on with everyone.
Yeah, she's really easy to get along with, and she's a good friend, isn't she?
Yeah.
Steffi, as I said, everybody loves Steffi. She's got such a lovely personality. She's had it since she was a baby. She's such a placid person and knowing, like, you know, she really caring person. And Ben, he's such a cutie, but I think he's got a bit of his mum's little temper. But he is a little love.
When they first knew to go about going to Australia, I said I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to even consider it. And we don't want them to go.
It's always been there with Helen. I think she needs to get it out of the system, to go and have a look and see what it's all about. But I think she'd do well down there, no doubt.
With Helen and Tim, when there is trouble in the family, they are the first to come down. They're the first to come down to help. And I think Helen will find that hard, whatever.
I'd just miss them all, I really would. The
thought of them being thousands of miles away and,
She'd be really missed if she went. It would be obviously really noticeable that she wasn't sort of there.
I think the reason why she wouldn't go is one, because of uni, and then friends will be another reason why she wouldn't go. But and before you make your decision, I want you to make sure that you've thought of everything properly.
Yeah, and that you know that we're here and that we're your friends, and if you need anything, then you can ask us.
We miss you lots and lots.
And we'll see you when we get back.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm sure you're going to make the right decision, and we're behind you no matter what.
Yeah, we'll always be here.
Make the right decision. Come home.
And talk to us about it. Yeah.
I don't know if we'd go to the airport because I think that would be a bit too much. But I think I'd like to go up there a few days beforehand to see them before they did leave, like, you know. I've got to actually.
That was heartbreaking, seeing Steph upset. You just, you know, you try and shelter them from everything and you feel that you're almost inflicting something on them. It's making me think maybe this decision is too early for Steph to be putting her through emotional turmoil when she should just be considering and just living without any pressures or worries at this age. And just her reaction then really made me think that.
It was just mostly I got upset because the things they were saying and things were nice. And I think when you see them, it's like, they're the people I'll be leaving behind and things. And it's just whether this adventure would be worth
losing all that. It's making me reconsider my decision. My dream, but, you know, my dream wouldn't be anything without my children being happy or my family being happy, so that comes first. And she was just so distressed, so...
It's always tough hearing messages from loved ones. How will the Booths balance the emotional tug of leaving friends and family behind with the opportunities Australia can offer? Helen's dream rests on their decision.
It's been a challenging week for the Booths. They couldn't find a property they liked.
I'm absolutely not impressed by the houses at all that we've seen so far. In terms of the internal decor and the layout, I don't like it at all.
Doesn't really do it for me.
Steph was pleasantly surprised by the university options.
Actually really good, because I haven't come across that in any of the English university courses that I've looked at.
But with Tim's reduced salary and Helen not working, money would be tight.
So we'd be short nearly £900.
Yeah.
To live in the lifestyle that we'd currently got.
Tim isn't convinced they can afford to live Helen's Australian dream.
It's a little bit scary, isn't it? I'm sure not. I'm sure every Australian doesn't think it's a wonderful lifestyle when they're doing the day-to-day drudgery.
After seeing her daughter's distress, Helen's now questioning her own decision.
That was heartbreaking, seeing her upset. It's making me think maybe this decision is too early for Steph. To be putting that pressure on her, it's making me reconsider my decision.
Tim has massive financial worries to overcome. Steph is on the brink of a new life. Helen may have to put her dream on hold for the sake of her family.
What concerns me most is that Tim will vote because he'll want to do what he thinks makes me happy, but actually that would make me not happy, because we equally need to be convinced.
What will they decide?
We'll be voting Australia.
Yay! You're good.
That's a frown.
What an emotional week for the Booths. But in the end, they all agreed on a new life down under.
That really did surprise me. I didn't actually think either of them would vote Australia. I know that they both liked it, but I was concerned because of the cost of living, and I thought Tim would be opposed to that. And Steph, I didn't know whether she would be as enthralled with the university over here, but she clearly was. And yeah, happy that we did it.
Join us next time when we find out what happens when another family has to decide whether they're wanted down under.
Tom Selleck and Ted Danson have their hands full. Again, it's Three Men and a Little Lady at 2:30. And if you missed his new adventure on Christmas Day, you can catch up with the Doctor at 4:10. Next, it's Homes Under the Hammer.
Emigrating to the other side of the world can split families right down the middle. So, if you've always wanted to live in Australia, but your family doesn't share your dream, would you still go without them?
Helen's dreamt of moving down under since she was 18, and now she just might have that chance.
I actually think Australia, this is where my restless soul has been for a number of years. I can't see why I would want to leave here.
Her teenage daughter Steph isn't so sure.
I'd say I was still 50-50 on whether to go, but perhaps I'm being a bit pampering to my mum there, where really I'm probably about 75% sure I want to stay in England.
If Steph can't be convinced of a life down under, Helen will have to sacrifice her dreams or leave her daughter behind.
It's just really hard to think she just wouldn't be part of us because she's such a big part of the family. So I don't know. I'd miss her terribly.
But if Helen wants to live her dream, it's a sacrifice she might just have to make. With its 50,000 kilometres of coastline and sunny climate, Australia has long been a favourite destination of Brits dreaming of a new life abroad. But when around 10,000 return home each year with their dreams in ruins, sometimes a life down under isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Helen wants her family to share her Australian adventure. But if daughter Steph decides her life is in the UK, Helen's heart could be broken in two. We're giving them 1 week to try out life down under, and at the end of it, they'll have to make the hardest decision of their lives.
Tim Booth and his wife Helen live in a 4-bedroom semi-detached house in the village of Yulo near Chester, along with their 2-year-old son Ben and Helen's daughter Steph, who's 17. Since she was a teenager, Helen's always dreamt of moving down under.
I'm the instigator, so I'm the one that's always harped on, really we should go to Australia and experience in the lifestyle over there. We are an adventurous family, and I think what it has to offer is really ticks all the boxes for us. So we could actually all go out as a family and live the dream.
The time has never been right until now. With Tim recently made redundant from his job as a town planner, they've started to think about their future in a different way.
The whole development industry was affected, so people being made redundant. So it meant looking around the country at different jobs, and I happened to get one in tendering in Essex, and it meant moving down there. So for the last 9 months I've been living in a caravan in just outside Clacton.
It was this time away from Helen and the children which brought home to Tim what really matters.
You suddenly start rationalising what's most important, working long term or being closer to the family, and seek a better life and have a bit more quality time with each other.
But teenage daughter Steph doesn't share her mother's dream and wants to stay in the UK and go to university with her friends.
I think I kind of see it more as their adventure, and whereas I want to have my own adventures now when I'm older. I'll have a look at the universities there, but it might not be right for me. So I just want to be able to go and explore it and stuff, and then see how I feel. But